Today we're going to talk a little bit about impact. Just going to have a short discussion. I'm going to give you a series of drills that will help train impact. One of the biggest problems I see at the academy with my students when they come in is that they're coming in and they have bad impact. Okay, hands are back, weights a lot of time is on their back side, thinking they need to lift the ball up in the air. Okay, so that leads to what we call a flip at the bottom, where the left hand is breaking down this way and scooping the ball at impact, when in reality we should have the shaft leaning a little forward, shaft butt of the club pointing to the left pocket or the left side of our body, and the pressure and weight has moved to our left side, hips open, shoulders slightly open, and right shoulder lower than the left. We don't see that many times here with our players. So one of the main things that I'm doing in my instruction when I teach is I look at impact. 4 principles that I'm always looking at: impact, plane and controlling path and face, lag, and pivot. During the next series of videos we're going to talk about all of those, but today we're just going to talk about impact. So poor impact, weight on the backside, shaft leaning backwards. Okay, a lot of times comes from a poor grip, can come from a lot of different things. But good impact, okay, we should have the weight on our left side, or our lead side for those left-handers out here. Shaft leaning forward towards our lead pocket, okay. Some pressure into the ground there, that's hitting down on the ball. The pressure in my feet on my left side, okay. My hips should be rotated open, as well as my shoulders slightly, just a touch open, but not as much as the shoulders, okay. So the series of drills that I'm going to give you today is called chip, pitch, punch. Okay, we're going to start with a chip. Okay, there are 5 conditions of the left wrist. Okay, and Hogan talks about this in his book. All right, and there's 5 conditions. With a good grip at the beginning, we're going to have a slight bend in that left wrist. Okay. In the backswing, your wrist is going to hinge. There's 3 different ways you can hinge depending on what the right arm does in the golf swing. We could talk about that in another video, but the wrist is going to hinge in the backswing, unhinge in the downswing, arch to the ball, and then roll with our body rotation and our pivot. Okay, so we need to make sure that the last part, the arch, is not turning into a cup. That's a flip. Okay, so the first drill is simply, we're using 2 conditions. We're going to use the cup wrist at the beginning with a good grip, slightly strong grip with the left hand. I should be able to see 2 knuckles looking down. And then I'm going to take the club back to the right, move my hands to the right, 1-piece takeaway, and then I'm going to arch my wrist to the ball, my left wrist to the ball, this way. That will add a little bit of lag. As you can see, the club's moving this way. I'm arching my wrist to the ball, and just add a little bit of body rotation. Okay, so it will look like this. Taking it back and arch my left wrist to the ball. All right, the ball's only going to fly 10, 15 feet. But we're just training the wrist to move from a cup position to a flatter or arch position. Okay, the next step, so that's step 1. Step 2 is going to be pitch. Okay, we're now going to add a 3rd condition, and that's the hinging of the wrist. So essentially I'm going to turn back and I'm going to make an L, okay, with the left arm and the shaft of the club. So I'm going to add a hinge. So I'm going to take it back, and now from here I'm going to go ahead and arch my left wrist to the ball with a little bit of body rotation. Now the ball is going to fly a little further. Okay, so let me demonstrate that one more time. Okay, so we have cup wrist at the start. We're going to hinge with a little bit of rotation, and then we're going to arch the left wrist to the ball with a little bit of rotation. Here and there. Okay, the ball is going to fly a little bit further. We're going to have a little more power because we're adding an additional power source with the wrist. Finally, we're going to hit a punch shot. Okay, and with the punch shot, we're going to move from chip to pitch. Now, when we get to the pitch, okay, we're not just going to arch. We're going to go ahead and re-hinge, so it's more like an actual pitch shot. So we're kind of going L to L here and allowing the club to release, okay? But we have to make sure that we're incorporating that flat left wrist. If the wrist breaks down at impact, you're going to scoop, you're going to flip, and we're going to have poor impact. Okay, lastly, we're going to do a punch shot. We're going to take it back about 3/4 of the way, okay? And then we're going to punch and just kind of hold our finish here. We're just punching the ball nice and low. It should look something like this. Okay, if we do that, that's going to ensure good impact. You can hear that good crisp sound. Okay, weights on my left side when I hit the ball, but because I started small with a little chip motion this way, I can then progress into something longer and longer. Okay, after the punch, all we have to do from here is just continue turning into the finish. Okay, so to recap, okay, 5 conditions of the left wrist. Cup wrist at the beginning, hinges up, it hinges down, arches the ball, and rolls with our rotation. Okay, and the left wrist will then flatten and break down over on this side, but too many golfers do that down here. Okay, so the 3-step process. Okay, I always try and give drills in steps of 3. The 3 steps for this one are the chip. Okay, so take it back with no risk, keep the cup, arch the wrist of the ball, and hit a little chip shot with a little bit of body rotation. 2 is the pitch, where we're adding a hinge. We're going to hinge it back and hinge it through. My weight should be on my left side when I'm done here. And then finally punch, where we're going to take it back about 3/4 of the way and stop here and just hit a low little punch shot. Okay, you're probably going to see that the punch shot's going to go about as far as your normal shot. Okay, but the more you incorporate this drill and get that shaft leaning a little bit forward when we strike the golf ball, you're going to see better contact, you're going to see a little more spin, and you're going to see a much better result with your ball flight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next article.